Clemens Homebrew coming at you with a beer review. You know, I was all set to come out here when it was beautiful a bit earlier, and I got all these emergency calls I had to handle. So here we are, and very much twilight time and moving that way. And I'm going to do first a shout out. I'm doing this beer review because my friends over on Beer Snobs on MeWe. So cheers to all you folks. And they do a lot of Voodoo Ranger. So here we're going to go over to New Belgium, and we've got the Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. Now, I am a beer snob, as the group mentions, and so I don't always do your everyday drinkers, but here we go. It's a 9% ABV Imperial IPA. Let's get into it. All right, here we go with the pour. All right, we'll leave room for a swirl, but you can see that this is just completely cleared out. It's got about a 1-finger head, very white and fluffy looking, and that's a nice deep golden color on there. Let's see what we get as far as the nose goes. It's pretty mild. Well, it's interesting. You get a bit of bread and a little bit of, well, not so much, but a little bit like a crust. Not really a cracker, but crusty, bready type scent. So some of the grains on that. You get a light citrus. And I get the lightest amount of some stone fruit on it as well, which is kind of interesting coming off of that. Not a whole lot of scent. It's not a big, bold scent. But again, this is like a regular beer, year-round beer, and from a big brewery, you know. So you don't expect a lot of that. Let's go ahead and get a taste. Oh, that's interesting. The first thing that hit me on the tongue was actually a pretty nice sweetness. And then I get a little bit of a hint of some pine and a bit of some grapefruit. There's something else going on there too. There's actually quite a bit of sweetness on it. For me though, I get just a bit of this extra like sweetness that almost makes me think like almost of a candy sweetness, which is odd. And then you get that bit of a pine or a resin type quality on the back side of it that kind of builds up a little bit. Now this time I feel like the pine's not so distinct, but I picked up some of that stone fruit quality again, which I really actually dig on a beer. But that sweetness throws me. It's very interesting. It's almost like they're adding some dextrose or some other kind of sugars into this to bolster the sweet quality or the sweet flavors on it. And then the not so much pine and its odd bitterness, really got a little bit of a quality of like a resin. Not so much dank. I mean, you might think there's a bit of dankness, but it's more on that resin side, which is very interesting. That's challenging on my palate to figure that out quite. It's it has a medium mouthfeel. It's about a medium carbonation as well. It doesn't dry out on the palate at all. Has a little bit of slickness, almost a hint of like an oily quality. And as I said before, I still feel like I get kind of a stone fruit quality. Lends itself towards a peach or maybe more like a nectarine. For me, it's more of a muddled quality when it comes to citrus. It's at first it came across as being that grapefruit type quality. But I almost feel like I get just hints of some orange type quality for citrus as well. I'm so spoiled being here in just outside of Portland, Oregon, and getting some of the local brews that I get that I love up here. But for an everyday beer, it's a pretty good beer, and it does a really good job, though, mind you, of hiding that 9% ABV. That can get you in trouble. That and one other thing. The skinny 16-ounce cans. That'll get you in trouble. You mentally think of cans skinny and you think you're not getting that much. Or you might be the opposite because they make these look so tall when they're thin like that. But this is pretty easy drinking, so I mean, I could actually put this down pretty fast. And at 9%, if you did a couple of those, you'd start knowing it. It's not, you know, any kind of world-class or excellent beer. It's a decent beer, easy drinking, is what we're going to say with this. How would I rate this? In terms of double IPAs, because that off bitterness, I can't quite rate it quite as high. I love double IPAs with a nice sweetness to it. I do have a sweet tooth. And I don't mind dankness at all. I'm all for that. But it's just an interesting bitterness. So I can't rank it real high for myself. It's a nice solid B beer. For me, though, I'm going to put it at an 84 for style. Overall, though, I'm going to give it a slightly higher score. I'm going to give this an 85. It was $3.49, you know, for a 16-ounce can. A deceiving 16-ounce can, being skinny and really tall. But mind you, still a 16-ounce can. It's a full pint. And it's very drinkable. It's not going to be my favorite, but I like outrageous things. I am a beer snob, one more time, I will say that. But I have a lot of respect for New Belgium, and they've put out some wonderful beers over the years that I've really enjoyed, some I bought often. So here it is again. It's the Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA by New Belgium Brewing out of Colorado. That's right. And this Kevin's saying, life's too short to drink cheap beer, and I'll see you in the next beer review. And I'll see all you folks over there at Beer Snobs on MeWe. Cheers.